What's up, guys? Your agent Tyler Wayrung here, and today I'm going to show you guys exactly how I analyze and find rental property or investment property. This software works for flips, burrs, wholesale, rentals. I've been using this software for since about 2015. I've used it to analyze every deal I've bought since then, and a lot of you guys send me addresses and DMs about, is this a good deal? Will this work? And the answer is always it depends, because everyone does have different criteria. But the awesome part about this software is you can bake that criteria in and look at analysis based on exactly what your investment goals are. Now, full disclosure, I do have an affiliate with DealCheck, which is the software I'm going to show you guys today. But guys, I went for the affiliate because I love the software so much. I would never recommend or push software based on affiliate status. My reputation and value to you guys just means more to me than that. But most importantly, the main reason I'm even sharing my affiliate link is you guys get 20% when you use it. So, and it's free. You get a 14-day free trial if you don't. So don't feel like you have to go out and buy this. This is not a push to buy this. I've looked at a ton of software, Bigger Pockets. There is a lot of good stuff out there, but I'll show you a couple things within DealCheck that make it just a no-brainer for me, and that's why it's my go-to. So let's go ahead and jump in. All right, so when you first log in, you get kind of this screen, shows you your rentals, your burrs, flips, wholesale. You kind of pick which strategy you want to go into, and then that's where you jump in with more detail. So let's jump into rental first. I think that's most of your guys' question is, how do I find rentals? And the cool part about this is, first, you get to pick your purchase criteria. All right, so this is your goal, and this is why I tell a lot of people it depends. You need to put in here what you want out of an investment property so that you can go find the right one to meet your goals. So you do this once, and then it's in there forever. You don't ever have to enter this again. It just knows your criteria, and it evaluates deals based on this criteria. All right, so it has a lot of the common stuff, purchase price. If you only have a certain amount of cash, it'll help you find deals that just meet the total cash needed objective. So you would just click this, put in, hey, I can't buy anything over 100 grand. Valuation, price per square foot, cash flow. So for me, I like 150. I mean, typically I like 200 per unit, but again, this kind of gets you through that level 1 underwriting. And when I say that, I mean, this allows you to, like, if you got 10 deals, this is how you quickly screen out and find the 2 or 3 that are worth spending more time on. But you don't want to spend your time kind of analyzing and deeply looking at 10 different deals, because time is just too important to do that. So I kind of lower the threshold to get through that level 1. So 150 per unit. Cash on cash return, I like double-digit cash on cash, so I put that in. But again, guys, you guys can do anything you want. No matter where you are in your investment career will drive what investment goals you need to have. So by any means, this isn't kind of the gold standard. I'm just showing you what works for me in my market. But this just gives you a lot of criteria here. So let's just assume, we put all this in, and this meets my criteria. So then I go back to properties, and then you'll see these red X's here are evaluating the deals that I've put in based on my criteria. So you can see, obviously, a green check mark. This checks all the boxes. And the cool part is, when we go to do this, and it tells you why it doesn't. So for this example, my cash on cash was less than 10, and DCR was less than 125. So let's actually, I'm going to start from the beginning. We're going to go find a property, analyze it, and then I'm going to show you my favorite feature about this software in just a second. So we're going to go out to Zillow. I kind of just pulled this up. I found this little Cape Cod here. You can do this. So you can go into, and actually recommend you go into areas that you want to buy, areas that you're familiar with. This is one thing that no software will be able to figure out for you, is to find areas that you like based on a lot of different reasons. Do you like the schools? Do you like the neighborhood, the low crime? So I go out and find neighborhoods I like, click on properties in there that might be for sale. And this is how you find on market. Just an example. So we're going to go 750 Ridgewood Avenue. They're asking 145. The cool part about DealCheck, so I'll hit add a property. You can import, so this will pull all the data from Zillow or other public resources in. So I'm going to hit allow here, 50. It already found it for me, so I'll search for it. Let's see, bang, pulled it up. Pulls all this data in for you, so you don't have to do a lot of entry. You just have to remember the address. Let's see. And you get to pick, okay, do you want to go the Zillow's estimate or the realtor? It gives you rental income estimates. You want to use the RentCast, which is a great software, or the Zillow Rent Zestimate. Assess value, it pulls in all your tax data. property tax amount. And again, guys, I always just, for level 1, you just use whatever they find. This is initial underwriting. You're going to go back and validate all this information if you decide this is a deal you want to pursue deeper. But for this examples, look, it even pulls pictures in, so you can hit boom, save property. All right, so right off the bat, to get through level 1, bang, we see this red X right here. This deal does not meet our criteria. It's only going to show you that we're cash flowing $5 a month, and our cash on cash would be a negative 0.2%, which is something we don't want ever. All right, so but the cool part is, let's say, so for me, I would probably just do a pass on this. This is so far off of my criteria, I would move right to the next deal. However, like I told you before, my favorite function in this whole software is something called the offer calculator. All right, so let's say this was a deal in a neighborhood that you really loved, and no matter what, you're going to put an offer in on anything that comes up in this area because you want to hold here long term. So you go to this offer calculator, and you know, because a lot of people ask me, all right, well, you know, they're asking way too much for the property, but, and I'll say, well, what is a good price? What price would make sense for you? And a lot of times there's not a good way for them to come up with, ooh, you know, I would pay this amount for it. So based on the criteria that you entered, DealCheck automatically tells you the highest offer that you can make to hit all of those criteria is $100,000. And it says it's limited by the cash on cash return. So it's basically saying, in order to get a, what we say here, a 10% cash on cash return, you can only pay up to $100,000. So the way you would use this is, let's say this is a neighborhood you like, you want to put offers on anything and just see what happens. You could just reach out to your agent and say, as soon as something comes up on the market, put it in here, go right to your offer calculator and say, hey, write this up for 100 and see if they'll take it. And move on to the next one. You don't have to spend a lot of time. Now, if they come back and they counter you, then you could come back and dig in here and find a little bit more. So let's just say that it does, you know, if we want to go with 100, you hit save this new price. It'll then throw that back in here, give you the little green check because now we do check all our boxes. We can go back to our purchase worksheet, or actually we're going to click on property analysis. So now we get to see what this would look like if we were able to get this for 100 grand. All right, so we would need 22.5 down, 200 cash flow a month at an 8% cap would get us a 10.8 cash on cash return. All right, so let's assume that this just works, just to show you some kind of the other features here. So we can look at projections. If you're not a real numbers nerd like myself, you can skip all past this. But guys, this really comes in handy when you're reaching out to either get a loan on this through a bank or you're reaching out to private lenders. This looks like you know what you're talking about, and it just really helps give a visual to a lot of this here. So the cool part is, if you go over here to reports and sharing, you can either just send someone a link directly to this report. So look, if I copy and paste this in a new window, it gives me a nice, very visually friendly report that you can share out with private lenders or a bank. So it's going to kind of give you a high level, and no one needs access to the software. This is just a public link. It's going to give them you know, the high level details, cash on cash, a map, you know, here's what you're looking at, valuation, cash flow, investment returns. It gives us all in a nice little view here. It gives them sales comps, rental comps, and you can, and it actually pulls all the pictures from the Zillow listing if it was a public listing. So you can also come back here and say, nope, I don't want to include rental comps. You can kind of configure what shows up in that end report. Include purchase criteria, boom. So you can kind of play around with all this. You can include or exclude charts, photos. You can type up your own description. You can brand it. I think you do have to have a paid version to put your own branding on there. But guys, you don't even have to do that. You can leave the DealCheck logo on there. It's totally cool. So another cool part of this is, let's just say you're brand new, you don't have any lenders that you're working with. You can hit find local lenders. So you get some sponsored lenders or some lenders that, you know, work with DealCheck. You can, once you click in here, you can actually share this report out to the lenders and kick off their underwriting process to let them know, you know, what their thoughts are on it. But we'll go back over to my properties. So let's jump back into our property here, look at our purchase worksheet. So these numbers right here that it's using for an assumption to run all these are numbers that I know because I have a relationship with my lender. So these are what I know I can get notes on, 20% down, 4.875 interest, and a loan term of 25 years. So you can do all that in the settings. You can customize this. If you may be able to get better terms than me, you may be able to get 30-year notes, but I get no seasoning notes on these terms, so that's what I plug in as a worst case scenario. And then that's what comes in by default, but you can play around with these numbers. You can do whatever you want. So that was a rental. You can actually do this for BRRRR properties. You can do BRRRR purchase criterias, flip purchase criteria, wholesale, and it'll do the same thing for you. So it kind of gives you examples here and uses that same little green light here. You can type in what profit you want to make, your 70% rule, things like that. So it makes this very simple and user friendly to kind of go through this. Once you have a bunch of stuff in here, you can actually compare and pick, two different properties that you have, compare them. It gives you this nice user-friendly view. I use this sometimes to show deals that went good and deals that I'm underwriting now. And if they're in a similar area, I can say, all right, what went well with this deal? Let's try to see how close we can get it to those same purchasing terms so that we can ideally have the same outcome that we've had on another known positive. So also, I know a lot of you guys ask me about how to run comps, do ARVs, and how to pull rental comps. So it has that functionality baked right into it. You can actually pick here, let's see, for sales comps ARV, oh, it must have found two. We'll go with the one on Zillow. So it tells you exactly where it's pulling the comps from, and you actually can come in and control this. So for me, I don't like to, when pulling comps, I don't like to cross major highways. And if you know the neighborhood, you want to exclude certain other neighborhoods that just aren't good comparable. So you can deselect all these, and let's just say I only want this little pocket right here. I go E, G, L, and what is that? E, G, L, and P. So I can come down here, boom, E, G, L, oh gosh, L, boom. So based on those comps, it'll give me a new ARV. It'll say, here's what Zillow says, but you only picked these comps right here. It'll highlight green. Based on those comps, we think this is the ARV because it calculates square footage and gives you a range of the ARVs that you selected. You can then take that ARV and have it plug back into those reports. You can do the same thing with rental comps. Rental comps are a little harder to do because it picks a wider range, and it's really hard to get better data on this because most rental listings are from mom and pop landlords. Unlike the MLS or public records that have to be created when you sell a property, it's often harder to get kind of this data on rental listings. But they do use RentCast, which is a great software, does a lot of kind of AI to go find this information. But just keep that in mind. Some of their rentals stuff might be a little bit off. So I try to keep it very close to where I'm at and really try to go out and look at these. So I would go out and look at 215 Progress, make sure this is a legit house, see what they listed for, maybe how long that listing was out there before I actually use that as a rental comp, and be confident in the data that I'm going to say, like, if I think I can really get $16.95 in rent. I don't think that's the case. I think that's a little high, but it does allow you to go look at pictures from this and etc. So another cool tool is owner lookup. So if you're doing any kind of like wholesaling or skip tracing or things like that, oh, unfortunately, this one doesn't pull back an owner, but a lot of times it will go out and find the owner of this property to see if you want to kind of move forward with kind of trying to track them down. This is much more helpful for off-market properties. You really don't want to be reaching out to owners for things that are listed with an agent on market, but when you get into off-market situations, this can be helpful. All right, and lastly, guys, they do have a lot of just good information overall, especially for newer folks. They have a glossary out here. They have online courses. I mean, you hear a lot of terms get thrown around all the time in the real estate industry. They have, whole blog articles about this. So purchase price, it tells you exactly what it is. That one's a pretty example. Let's say you don't know what NOI is. All right, well, it tells you right here what it is, the calculation, how to get there. We take into account operating expenses. What are operating expenses? Boom. Here are all expenses you pay, excluding loan payments. So it's a really good educational tool as well. So that's the glossary. They also have things like online courses out here. just a lot of good stuff. This is just a good overall company. And again, guys, I would never just recommend something to you that I don't personally use or am not personally an advocate for. But I've been using this program for so long. I was kind of a very early user with this. I gave them a ton of feedback. They're really a small company. They incorporate a lot of the things I do. They're very good about communicating that out. They're really open for feedback. They're always looking for people to go out and try stuff and give them their input. So again, guys, highly recommend this. This is just what I use, but if you find something else out there that works for you, that's the big thing. The big thing is that you are actually analyzing deals, putting offers out. Otherwise, you're not just going to find properties that magically land in your lap. All right, guys, so if you got anything out of this, hit that like button below. That just helps the channel grow and tells YouTube that this video is worth checking out. But if you do decide to check deal checkout, use the 14-day free trial first. If you decide to purchase, if you use the link below and the promo code, you will get 20% off, and that is a recurring discount. But if you guys have any questions or something I missed and feel like you would like me to cover in another video or to dig a little bit deeper into this topic, let me know in the comments below. With that, guys, Tyler Wayrunk, and we'll catch you next time.